been a big gaming week.
Dude,
2 weeks.
I was going to say the past 2 weeks.
Like just an incredible amount of.
Yeah, it's nuts. I am so far behind on stuff. I wrote 4 premium articles on Monday. I mean, honestly, one a day is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to, I'm just trying to catch up. I have a backlog. I was telling my wife, everyone's familiar with the term writer's block, right? This is one of the most awful things that can happen. And for a person like me who, you could wake up every day and news happens and you can write about news. And sometimes the news is slow and there's not much to write about, but that's not writer's block. That's no one's fault. But I also write this kind of editorial content, which goes to throw out premium, and there's a responsibility there because people pay for this. And not only do you have to hopefully be high quality if you can, but also you have to write it.
Yeah,
you have to publish. So there are periods of time where it's like bleeding a rock or whatever you want to say. That's writer's block, right? There are hard sometimes. I mean, I'm pretty good at it, but there are times, right? This is whatever the opposite of writer's block is. That's what I have now. I have too many ideas in my head, and I make notes, I start documents, and now they're just piling up because there's so much going on. There's so much.
Well, you can think about what you're going to write while we listen to a message from our sponsor.
Active Directory vulnerable to cyber attacks? Active Directory is the #1 attack vector involved in 9 out of 10 attacks. Because of legacy Active Directory misconfigurations, it is a prime target for cyber criminals. To find and fix AD security vulnerabilities, you need Purple Knight, a free community Active Directory vulnerability assessment tool that is used by thousands of organizations to scan for indicators of exposure and compromise. Purple Knight provides a vulnerability assessment report and prioritizes recommendation guidance so you can quickly find and fix legacy misconfigurations that leave your core identity system open to attackers. You can also use Purple Knight to scan for vulnerabilities in Azure Active Directory, which is notoriously tricky to secure. Stop worrying about security gaps and download Purple Knight today to find out where the problem is and how to fix it. You can find links to Purple Knight in the description of this podcast.
So, there's 2 things. One, I don't even want to talk about.
Okay, let's start with that one.
The FTC is going to drag Microsoft back into court. Nobody cares. They're not going to get it.
Yeah, there is a. You think we've gotten past the delusion, right? That the CMA just turned it up to 11, and now you find out there's a 12, and it's like, and it's one of the most hard to understand things. The trying to understand what this even means is difficult. My understanding is that typically, the FTC, if they have an antitrust concern, and if there's 2 ways they can go with filing charges. They can do it internally, and they have this internal trial. And if they find the subject to be guilty internally, which is kind of goofy, they will then present that to the federal court system. They'll have formal charges. On the flip side, they could go right to federal court, which is what they did with Microsoft. Although I guess this thing was proceeding, internally as well. If they lose in federal court, the FTC has a rule that their internal thing stops. That's the end of that. And that is what happened with Microsoft. And I'm not saying this is unprecedented. I don't know what the history of this, but my understanding is it's very unusual. They have brought it back from the dead, like Jason in a Friday the 13th movie. And it's just about as stupid as those movies because it's not like something changed. And look, generally speaking, we have this understanding that antitrust in Europe is based on competition, and antitrust in the United States tends to be based on consumer harm. It's just like every general statement. You can poke holes in it and whatever, but that's sort of our understanding. Their rationale for bringing this back is that it will hurt competitors. But whatever. Microsoft's antitrust trial in the late 90s was about hurting Netscape, as well as hurting consumers, right? Honestly, both aspects exist in the United States, of course. But we make these statements, but they can't prove consumer harm here because there is no consumer harm, and I don't think they can prove the other thing either because there are no competitors, and who cares? Microsoft, not Microsoft,
Yeah.
FTC, yeah.
The other one, which is much more significant, is that Jim Ryan is retiring from Sony, which is, he was there, I think, 30 years, something like that.
How much impact do you think he had on the PlayStation being so much more successful than the Xbox, especially in the most recent 2 generations, given that he is in charge of PlayStation US, right? He's not, right? Isn't it just US, or is it all PlayStation?
I think it's all over, but I could be wrong.
Oh, then it is. Okay, then screw what I just said. Then he very much, then he must be the man. He must be their Phil Spencer. He is the guy. I should try to find this out. So this Sony strategy, which is acquiring studios and exclusives to, provide more value to the people who choose PlayStation as an ecosystem, is incredibly successful. I wonder if this is on him, and if it is, I mean, bravo. I don't like it as a gamer, but I live in apparently a hippie commune or something, but right? I mean, super successful. Super successful.
It's great. I mean, his next career is actually he's going to head up the CMA, so it'll be an easy transition for him.
Love it. Yeah,
that is a joke for anybody who's not.
Yeah, if you're following, I mean, he from the perspective of an Xbox fan and one who followed that stuff very closely, right? The antitrust stuff with Activision Blizzard. He did what you kind of have to do, which is you come out as a jerk and just say nonsensical things in public because you have to, because you're protecting your platform as much as you can. And then you find out internally, he's like, yeah, we don't really care, and that doesn't make him a bad person. You do the right thing for your company and for your whatever. But yeah, he was a villain during this time frame for us, right? I mean, no doubt about it.
So that'll change things. He's not retiring until I think it's April of 2024, which is really, I think, the end of Sony's fiscal year, if that sounds about right.
Plus, he's going to go out in a high because, if anything, the indications here are that PlayStation 5 sales are now going through the roof and are on this upward trend, and he can be like, see, that will be his kind of career end cap. He rode through the coronavirus stuff. I think they did a better job, frankly, with supply than Microsoft did, even during the roughest times, which impacted both, but I think he somehow, maybe through volume, I don't know. And now they're doing great, right? I would like to see a much smaller, cost-reduced PS5.
Yeah.
I know there's rumors of a cost-reduced thing, but I don't think it's too much smaller.
Yeah, it'll be a big change. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just... And then, because there's not enough gaming news, Microsoft pushed out a second update to the Xbox dashboard that improves, I guess, updates how OneDrive integration works.
Let me help you with the language. It's a bonus update.
Yeah, but bonus. Yes, bonus.
And it's specifically addressing, among other things, that OneDrive thing, right? I was, only Microsoft, right? You have this app that you can download stuff from your console, and then they get rid of the app, but there's no other way to do it from the PC. And you have to go to the console to share content. And anyway, now you can at least save stuff to OneDrive and access it. And they're changing how that works. And, whatever. I mean, it took a year. I mean, my God, we waited 2 years for some stuff in Windows 11. So what's the big deal, Paul? I don't know. But it's just, maybe, you know what? We should have a new console generation just to fix the friggin' dashboard issues, right? Because that was the thing when we went from Xbox One, which they never fixed. They never fixed it. To this new Series X, Series S. Still not fixed, right? That was for all of its power and capability.
It's better.
It's okay, but that's such a low bar. It's better than what? Sand? What do you mean? It's better, but
sand.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm not disagreeing, but it should be great, right? This is like the wait time thing, right? The loading screen problem, right? That we were supposedly going to solve with the Series X. It's
well, the other fun reality I had yesterday, which is not great, is that when the new Modern Warfare 3 beta is happening for
that's coming.
I'm literally paying money.
I was going to say this is coming soon.
To not be able to play this.
It's this you paid. Yeah. So this is the second week of October. Is that right? Yep. For us, because it's PlayStation first. I will be home. I might have to turn this little guy on.
Yep. little salty about that one.
I just want to see those maps. It's going to be a beta, so we don't know the exact content yet.
Right.
I assume, yeah. So there'll be some 3 maps, right? Probably for multiplayer for me. Like I'm thinking of me here. I'm sorry. And they will be 3 of those classic maps that I love so much. And this is like the Mafia. This is how they're going to get me back in. Because that was probably the apex for this franchise, Modern Warfare 2. Well, the Modern Warfare series, the original, but Modern Warfare 2 in particular. I think all of them really. But I think for maps, multiplayer maps, that might be it. Like if you had to pick one, you're doing them all over again, baby. This is what I've been talking about.
You should just call it Groundhog Edition.
I know. I'm so happy to do it again.